Police shootings and rioting dominated the media's coverage this week and will undoubtedly be a key topic in tomorrow's debate here at Hofstra University. Terrence Crutcher, a black Oklahoma resident, was shot by a Tulsa police officer responding to a stalled car, even though Crutcher was not carrying a gun.
I get angry because an officer of the law who's paid to protect and serve prejudged my brother. Prejudged him. He didn't have a chance to live.
Another black man, Keith Scott, was killed by a police officer in Charlotte while waiting for his son at school. In that case, authorities say he had a gun, but that is in dispute. The shooting led to protests, rioting, and looting in that North Carolina city, with journalists on the front lines.
Does anyone know, or did anyone see who did the shooting? Or are you concerned that we're not sure exactly what happened?
You want it on video so you can put it on the news, right?
No, we're on live,
That's
actually.
what you're trying to find out. And we got a video so you can elaborate out, make a fabricated story, right? You want a video so you can base a fabricated story off of, right?
And last night, Charlotte police releasing a video of the fatal shooting. Joining us now to analyze the coverage, Amy Holmes, senior political analyst for Rasmussen Reports and a former anchor at The Blaze, and Joe Trippi, Fox News contributor and a Democratic strategist. Amy, as we put up a little bit of this video, I have to warn people this is disturbing, even though we're not playing any of the sound, and it's inconclusive. Two-part question. Did the Charlotte police, which said they were not going to release this, cave to media and public pressure in putting this out last night? And what do you think overall of the coverage of the Tulsa and Charlotte shootings?
Well, it certainly seems so, and you saw the police chief say that they were not going to release this video because there were other facts, that come into play in trying to adjudicate these situations. So clearly it seems to me that, and also, frankly, the protests and the demands of protesters and the family that was shown the video privately, and then they came out and said, we want to see this publicly. But what we've seen in both of these cases is that video is so powerful. When I watched the Tulsa video in particular, I don't know what happened before, but I do know what happened after, and it seemed to me, just from watching the video, but again, you do need larger context. I think in the case of Charlotte, that larger context, there's been a rush in terms of media, and we're still trying to learn the facts.
My sense, Joe, and tell me if you disagree, is that in both of these cases, the media have been somewhat restrained rather than reckless in concluding the police officer acted responsibly or irresponsibly, having been so badly burned in Ferguson, where so many in our profession adopted the hands up, don't shoot narrative, which turned out to be wrong in the case of Michael Brown.
No, I think that's right, but I also think it's it's a growing process for the media to figure out you can't just jump into these things. And I think I think it's still happening though on the street, and I mean on both sides. And it's hard for the media to not get sucked into that, because that's
right.
And
that's there's another
part of the coverage.
Certainly, and there's another form of media, which is social media.
Right.
And that's all of us self-publishing, whether it's posting video on Facebook or tweeting or commenting, quite apart from the MSM.
The Charlotte officer who shot Keith Scott, Brentlin Vincent, is black. On Thursday, after this officer was identified, New York Times, lead story in the paper, put that in the 30th paragraph. The Washington Post put it in the 31st paragraph. The Wall Street Journal put it in the 11th paragraph of a 12-paragraph story. Isn't that a highly relevant part of the story?
I'm not sure that it's relevant, because the story has been about police violence against the African-American community, and there are certainly African-American analysts who would say, it's the culture of the police, not necessarily the individual police officer. I don't think that's a fair criticism. I do think that obviously that fact should have been higher up in the story, but do I think that that's necessarily relevant? I'm not sure. We need to learn more.
Well, it has nothing to do with whether or not Officer Vincent acted properly or recklessly, but there are a lot of people I found, and MSNBC didn't mention it at all on the night of the riot. CNN and Fox mentioned it somewhat, CNN the most. Thought it was another case of a white cop and a black victim.
Well, but that's not getting the facts right, and that fact did...
Or by omission or by burying it.
And that fact should have been not buried, but way up more at the top of the story.
And I think it is fair to say that it doesn't fit the narrative of white racist cops attacking African Americans.
But I also do agree that that's not, and I'm not sure it's relevant to the real debate and the real lack of trust between police and...
All right, getting a little short on time. Do the media portray Donald Trump as being the law and order pro-police candidate, and is that accurate, and is that how it will play out in the debate?
Well, that's certainly how he
markets himself.
How he markets himself.
Although he's talked more
absolutely.
about African-American communities now, in other words, not just talking about the police. And the same question about Hillary Clinton, who was going to go to Charlotte today, canceled at the request of the mayor. Is she portrayed as more being on the side of the African-American community and fairly or unfairly less concerned with law enforcement?
I think that's exactly right, and that both have, fostered those impressions of their candidacy. I hope tomorrow night during the debate that they are asked about this, because where our commander-in-chief leads us when it comes to these thorny issues is really important to us, coast to coast.
Yeah, I think, look, it's again, everybody seems to push in those two directions, and it's not that simple. You can be for both things.
You're right. They're not mutually exclusive.
And, and I think that's where you'd like to see both of them get to.
Right. By the way, USA Today suspended for a month columnist Glenn Reynolds. He is the Instapundit blogger, a highly respected law professor, because when Charlotte protesters were blocking the roads, he tweeted, "Run them down." He says that was misinterpreted, but he did apologize. All right, Amy Holmes, Joe Trippi, great to see you.